Hey guys, today we're going to talk about 5 gifts for that cocktail lover in your life. What's up guys, welcome back to Gents Lounge. I'm George. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please do that right now. It really helps us out. Today we are going to talk about 5 perfect gifts for that cocktail lover in your life. So if you can think of somebody that loves to make cocktails at home, this is going to be the gift guide you want to watch. So first things first, everyone needs a good bar of base spirits. And today's sponsor is actually one of my favorite bourbons, Elijah Craig Small Batch. So this is the perfect bourbon for cocktails, for sipping neat. If you just want to add one ice cube and sip on it, it is a great bourbon. If you don't know a lot about Elijah Craig is actually known to be the first bourbon maker to actually use new charred oak barrels, which is now widely used in the bourbon industry and used in every bourbon ever made. So Elijah Craig has actually been called the father of bourbon and is one of the first people that were written about when it comes to the bourbon industry. So today we are going to use Elijah Craig bourbon to showcase all of the other gifts and accessories in this gift guide. So follow along, enjoy, and hopefully you'll find something for that cocktail lover in your life. Here we go. All right, so up first on the list, we have the cocktail making accessories. First things first, a mixing glass. So if the person in your life loves to make old fashions, Manhattans, any of the stirred cocktails, this is going to be a beautiful addition to their bar, and it's going to look very nice. What's nice about a mixing glass is that instead of making just one drink at a time in each glass, you can make multiple drinks for multiple guests and get the party started a little bit quicker. Up next on the list, we have your classic cocktail shaker. This one is a little bit different. This one is called the Parisian shaker. I prefer this model because, one, you can also make multiple cocktails, up to 3 in this type of shaker, and it looks very pretty. So something like this is going to be a great addition for something like the whiskey sours or any of the shaken cocktails that you'd like to do. Super easy to open, and it just looks great. So now that we covered the vessels for making cocktails, let's move on to the accessories every cocktail lover should have on their bar. So up first, a jigger. Measuring your cocktails is very important, especially if you want to have a consistent flavor and a well-balanced drink. Up next on the list, a Hawthorne strainer. This is going to be very important for your shaken cocktails and pouring out your stirred cocktails. This little mesh spring right here is what's going to catch those little ice chips and make sure you have a nice smooth mouthfeel in your cocktails. And last but not least, a favorite of all of my friends when they came over is a nice bar spoon. Now you can get them for under $5, but I do recommend spending a little bit more money because a nicer bar spoon is going to make it easier to stir your cocktails, and you're gonna look a lot cooler while doing it. So something like this with a very tight weave around it is going to be perfect for stirring your cocktails. So that pretty much covers the basics of making cocktails. So if the person in your life is pretty advanced already, these things might already be covered, but let me show you some things that can help take their cocktails to the next level. So up first on the list, we have these flavored simple syrups from my friends over at Toasted Simple. They have a honey pecan simple syrup, coconut almond simple syrup. So basically any recipe that calls for simple syrup, just replace that simple syrup with this flavored simple syrup. Now instead of having a standard old-fashioned, you'll have a honey pecan old-fashioned or a coconut almond old-fashioned. They also do a strawberry basil, so if you're making lemon drops, cosmopolitans, any of those, they're going to be an extra addition, and it's a super nice way to add some different flavors into your cocktails that you may not just have lying around the house. I know I do not have coconut almond anything laying around my house, but just having this on the shelf makes it very easy for rum drinks and whiskey drinks alike. And a little bonus tip, these actually are very good in your morning coffee as well. Now I'll have links to everything in the description below, but let's move on to some bitters. Now everybody mostly has the Angostura bitters in your bar. That's kind of the standard bitters, but they make bitters in a ton of different flavors, and I especially recommend Scrappy's bitters. So I brought their chocolate bitters today and their Orleans bitters. These are gonna be perfect for Sazeracs. If if you want to make a chocolate old fashioned or add a little bit of chocolate to an espresso martini or something, these are going to be perfect. So they have lemon bitters, grapefruit bitters, celery bitters for Bloody Marys, even spicy bitters. So if you want to add a little bit of heat to any of your cocktails, you can just put a few dashes of their spicy bitters in there and it will change the cocktail completely. Now moving on to the last gift on the list, upgrading your garnish game. So you can buy dried oranges, you can buy dried lemons, but I think the most important garnish to have on your shelf is a bottle of these Luxardo cherries. Now, if you've ever had an old fashioned at a fancy bar and you wondered why their cherries taste better than all of the cherries you've ever had in your life, it is because they're these cherries. And these cherries are the best cherries that have ever existed. And if you want to make a good old fashioned, you add this cherry to your old fashioned. And if you don't have these cherries, just leave the cherry out. But I highly recommend looking up, some different garnishes to add to the list. I'll have a full list of fancy garnishes to gift to that person in your life down in the description below. But that pretty much wraps up the video. So once again, thank you to Elijah Craig for sponsoring this video. These cocktails could not have been made without this bourbon. And if you guys need a perfect bourbon for the holidays, I highly recommend checking out Elijah Craig. Hope that helps, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. Cheers.